Yes, good evening. This is Richard DeCastro with the Speaking Mind Show. We're going to have a wonderful show tonight as usual. We're going to try and touch on some of the topical issues that are affecting our community. And we're going to also try to update our viewers on some of the things we've been discussing over the past couple of weeks. We're having some challenges getting some of the information, but we were able to get some of the information, and we're aware of some of the things that persons called in and query about. We're going to have an open show. We're also going to talk about the airport development tax. This is a tax that's happening at the airport that we're concerned about, and we would like to find out more about it. We're going to talk a bit also about the sort of, I guess it's like a fact-finding 100-page document that was given to some high school students to find out more about their sexuality, and we're going to talk about that. I was able to see one of the documents and some of the questions that were in the document, so we'll talk about that as well. There's a young lady that called about that, being very concerned as a parent. And we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to continue to talk about the traffic situation. We've noticed a lot of red lines on the road indicating that there were accidents in a number of areas. And also we see on the other news services, we see that we're still having some what I would like to term as excusable situations that shouldn't be, but they are. And we need to be mindful that everyone should be very careful while driving these days, because accidents do happen, and we have to try and prevent these accidents from happening. And I'm still calling on our colleagues to release the numbers for the year. We're in March, and if they release the numbers in the year, maybe we could sensitize some of our viewers to areas and types of behavior that they should try to curb in order to keep the numbers down. We're a territory, and we invite a lot of strangers to our shores, and we also enjoy the territory. So we would like to try and keep those accident numbers down wherever possible. So we're going to touch on the Elmo Stout High School and that questionnaire that was given to the students. We're going to talk about the traffic and the problems that we're having with traffic. We're going to still talk about the census 2010. We've understood, or some of us have been reading online about some of the disclosures that came out so far, saying the possible number of persons in the territory. However, we're mindful that we need much more information than that. We need to get the detailed information concerning the various aspects of the census. I think it's 2010. It's quite a while now, and we should have gotten some basic information by now. And I think it's we have to rally that we get this information in a timely manner. Of course, we're having the education week as we go along as well, and we're, I guess, in a way, is competing with one of the functions as we speak. But at the same time, we're here we're pushing the issues, and we're going to allow people to speak their mind concerning the variety of issues. I had a conversation with a lady just the other day, and it concerned being here for an extended period of time. In my opinion, anything past 10, 20 years is an extended period of time. I always make reference to some of my colleagues who are working on a temporary basis for 10 years. And I think that is malmanagement or the lack of management. If you can have people in a position for a temporary position for such a long period of time, it speaks wonders about the type of management that is involved. So we're going to talk about all those kind of issues here tonight. We're going to also remind our viewers that we don't have all the answers to the things that we discuss on this program. However, by dialoguing with the community, by reaching out to you in your living room and having you dialogue with us, that is what makes this show such a special show. We are sure that there are persons in this community who speak the best of this community and want the best for this community. So once we're on the same page with that issue, we're here to develop ideas and to stimulate minds and interests in various things. We all want a better Virgin Islands. We all want a place where we can enjoy the various things that we're doing. We want safety. Safety is the number one issue that we want. We don't want safety for tourists. We want safety for every person in the territory. Of course, the tourism product is important, and we would want it for them as well. But if we don't want it for ourselves, how can we want it for someone else? I think that's a question that we have to ask ourselves, and we better have a positive answer to it, because it speaks wonders of how you self motivation, and how do you get other people to come on the bandwagon and do what you want them to do if you can't motivate yourself. My co-host is here with me, and I'm going to ask him to introduce himself and say a few words so we can go along. So Sam, go right ahead and introduce yourself and let's go along.
Well, good evening again to the viewing audience. Welcome back again to another session of Speak Your Mind. We're here again to facilitate your comments, your concerns. I want to say thank you to all the people that again and again that has voiced their support for this show. You guys believe that we're a media where you can always tune in and get some fair or balanced approach to your comments or your concerns. So I want to encourage you to just tune in. Don't hesitate. If you have something that's burning you all week, you want a balanced approach to it, we'll try. Like my co-host said earlier, we don't have all the answers. We're not in a government seat. We don't know exactly what government might be contemplating. We don't know what new policies might be coming. But like you, on the street, we hear them. We hear the rumors. And we're also looking for you to help us verify those information. So tune in. As usual, I like to open up the phone lines early. The phone lines are open. Don't hesitate. If you have something that you really want to talk about, call us and let us know. All right. So welcome back.
Definitely. Some of the things I threw out already. I threw out the idea of the airport development tax, the 100-page sex questionnaire at the Elmer Stowe High School, the frequency of traffic accidents, and the census 2010, which we are now in 2012 and waiting. And I'm reminding our viewers out there, the last time we did a census, we waited 9 years to get the results on it. And I think as a community with computers all over the place, people have iPod, iPhone, we are way behind in this process. We're going to go to the phones. Good evening. You're Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm calling in connection with over in Virgin Garden. There's a lot of people working that kind of thing. They don't work for me.
We're getting some feedback. You could turn on your TV, please.
Yeah, I believe the government should be looking into it. overtime not be. There's a lot of workers working there without work permit. And the Immigration and Legal Department is supposed to do something about it.
Without work permits?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're hopeful that that situation will be corrected, because that is one way of depriving our government of revenue.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for that information.
You're welcome.
All right. So Sam, that's someone saying that at I'll not Bay they have persons working over there without work permits. Now, that would be, something that the person who is doing that is taking a risk. But that's I guess that happens in this tough economy.
Oh yeah. It's definitely happening, but it's something the Labor Department really needs.
It's something the Labor Department needs to,
I would be baffled to know that we have a lot of illegal people in the country. To the fact that they could be working on such a huge project without any checks and balance.
Checks and balance, exactly.
I remember years ago when I tried to start a little company there in a cruise ship dock. Within a week, 2 weeks, somebody from the Labor Department was in front of my door, wanted to know who I was and what business this was, and who my employees were. So government is losing funds too. I mean, if you have people working without work permit and they're not supposed to be working, they're losing funds.
We got a text that came in and said, please get the crosswalks painted. They're faded away.
Not just painted, we need crosswalk lights. Those lights need to be up, indicating that people are there in front of the crosswalk waiting to cross.
Okay, it says, I got another text that said, Courtney, good night. The first two pillars of a strong and prosperous country have fairness and justice. You just touched on a topic of people who here for 3 years. Oh, you got a call. I'm gonna go right back to that text. We're gonna take the call. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening. I am curious about the 9th District representative. Does it have a representative in the 9th District? Because I think that people need to know what is going on in that district.
Well, I saw in the news that the representative was up and about, so I would assume that there is an elected not that I would assume, I know there is an elected representative for the 9th District. And I don't know if you want to use this show to start a forum on the 9th District representative, but as far as I know, he is the elected representative for the 9th District, and I think we as a people have to take on a bit more responsibility and be a little bit more effective. Calling a talk show and ridiculing the 9th District representative is not, I don't think that's a good idea. I think you need to open a forum in the 9th District and discuss what the people of the 9th District need and wants to do about their representation, because it is your representation. You voted for someone to represent you, and now we're past that stage. How many months past that stage? About 5 months past that stage. Come on, let's be real.
Well, Carla, you also have 4 others, You
also have 4 other representatives, 4 at-large representatives.
And what's nice about one of those 4 is that he's actually the premier of the country. And he said he's going to be having a series of meeting one standing finance.
But in addition to that, he said he's going to regularly go to Virgin Gorda. I saw that in the news.
And also you have Mr. Christian who volunteered on NDP radio that he's available. So I know what you're saying as far as the representative himself. A lot of people asking that question, where is he? We haven't heard much. Someone said, well, what exactly do you want? So I think, I'm going to side Courtney on this one. Start a forum, have community meetings. You can call community meetings without having them, and discuss the representation. Invite him over. If he can't make it 1 or 2 or 3 times, make some noise. I would definitely tell you, keep calling the talk show, though, because that's the only way your voice is going to be out and be heard, because a lot of people also are in that area that are listening. So thanks for the call. We also want to know.
Don't forget, we're also interested in what's happening not only on Tortola, but on Virgin Gorda, on Josh Van Dyke, on Anegada, even on the smaller islands as well. We want to know the issues, the burning issues that are happening in the entire territory. Good evening, you've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. From the 9th District again.
Okay.
I would like to see something being done about the airport road, which is in a dilapidated state, and also I'm wondering why the old airport house was left the way it is instead of being brought down, because it is, a terrible foresight for visitors, and the road really, really needs to be fixed. There are potholes from the airport parking lot all the way up to the police station.
Well, okay, I know the road you're speaking of, and that would, as you were saying, that would be a terrible impression for tourists coming into the territory as well. While we have you online, though, thanks for that information. I hope the relevant persons who are listening would take action and fix that road. But while we have you online, I heard another colleague from Virgin Gorda speaking about the possible closure of that airport. You know anything about that?
I have no such knowledge of that.
Okay, but
and I don't think that would be fair now that Air Sunshine is finally back in the air from Virgin Gorda.
Oh, that's good. That's good news to hear.
That is very good news. I have already seized the opportunity to use them, because it is really a pain in the neck having to go by boat to Beef Island to get a flight out of Virgin Gorda. A flight out to Puerto Rico or wherever you need to go.
That's true.
So, and now that they are back in the air, there are lots of tourists using them flying directly into Virgin Gorda, and their first impression is terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
To the eyes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that call.
You're welcome.
Okay. Sam, I almost, the person almost made me think I might farm a job, but anyways, I'm pretty sure someone was listening to that or would pick up on that by Monday's a holiday, but at least by Tuesday.
Monday's another holiday?
Monday's I don't know if last Monday was a holiday. Okay,
yeah.
I'm getting Monday holiday happy.
Yeah, two in a row.
Too many in a row. Yeah, let's go back to the text. Let's see if I could answer them. It says, Courtney, good night. The first two pillars of a strong and prosperous country are fairness and justice. You just touched on a topic of people who here for 3 years on working permit and people who just make 2 years got residence. It takes courage to talk about these things. To you it may take courage to talk about it, but it's a fact. It's happening in our country. What about the expansion of the airport to have flights to UK and USA? Well, the person that texted in, I'm just like you. I want to know what is happening as well. That's why we showed the picture last time of what we were able to see, but we haven't heard anything official as yet. Hey, Sam and Courtney. Sam, the country had a murder yesterday at the illegal entertainment spot. You need to touch on that. They're referring to the murder that happened in Boggers Bay. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's an illegal operation. It's a club, and we really our hats go to the families of the young lady that died. I think it's a very tragic thing that happened. A very young lady, only 20 years old, and I'm lost for words really because of the situation. We have to, Sam, we have to start a Stop the Violence campaign. I think we have to start it at all levels because it is not getting any better. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
And so far, we're seeing it more prevalent with younger people. And that, to me, calls for, a nation or a territory-wide ideology to try and change the type of activities that we're seeing happening.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to, later on in the show, we're going to expand on that some more to talk about, what's happening and also to accept any calls that person or text that persons may have concerning this issue as well. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir. I have a question here, and it's somewhat of a concern. You people might have better knowledge than I do. Just for people who is on a work permit and holds a driver's license, and your work, because I learned that the driver's license now will be issued according to the permit. And your permit, the work permit is in for renewal, and the driver's license needs to be renewed. What's the next step about it? I don't know. You guys might have better knowledge about it than I do. Could you just elaborate on that a bit, please?
Well, we raised the issue here on the show, and what we were able to find out about it was that the driver's license is pegged to the work permit. So if you get a work permit for 1 year, you only could get a driver's license for 1 year.
Yeah.
That's as far as I know. And what was happening, I think, in reality was that persons were applying for the work permit, and it was taking a while to get the work permit, completed. And during that time, they didn't have any license, but they still needed to take their families to the supermarket, go to church, all the things that you normally do. And not having a license and having to park your vehicle or take a chance and drive. That was the issue. So we brought that issue. Up, and I've heard the Minister of Communication and Work say he was looking into it. So that's as far as I know at this point. I don't know if it was corrected, if some interim measure is put in place. I really don't know. But hopefully. Next time we open the show, I would be able to answer that. I'll make a call myself and try to find out what the situation is. But
Carlo,
Sam is going to.
Carlo, I think what was said is that the minister said the policy stands. That's number one. They're going to leave it because I think now they fully understand some of the measures that was trying to be implemented by the last administration. But I think what they were trying to do now to help facilitate folks who might have a situation with the driver's license is the Labor Department would issue a letter to you, so you can take that to the traffic department, and that letter will simply say that your work permit is being in process or being processed. And that way you can get your driver's license, because they realize, I don't need to suspend your driver's license if I'm not going to renew your work permit, because you could have a driver's license for a year and then your work permit don't come through. It doesn't matter. The country still makes some money. You have a driver's license that's good for a year, but if you're not in the country, it's not a burden to anybody. So I think what they're talking about now is issuing you a letter from the Labor Department. You can take that letter to traffic. You can get your driver's license renewed, but again, it's only pending 1 year. If your work permit is 1 year, it's pegged to the amount of time that your work permit is pegged to.
Okay, I understand the whole thing about the driver's license being issued 1 year like the work permit. My concern was, okay, so I have a driver's license and it needs to be renewed. My permit is in, and the permit might not come out to the time when my driver's license needs to renew. That was my concern. What will happen then if when I go to the license to get it renewed? Would it be issued to me, or I don't know?
Okay, let's say your work permit expires July 31st.
Yeah.
Your driver's license expires July 31st. What they're trying to do now is, while your work permit is being processed, July 31st or before July 31st, you would get a letter from the Labor Department that you can take to the driver's license, DMV. And the letter will simply say that your work permit is being processed. You can go ahead. It's like giving you authority or permission to go ahead and renew your driver's license.
Okay.
So you won't be in this dilemma that most people find themselves in. That's the main concern people are having, is that while the work permit is being processed, is that they now can't drive. They can't do the other things that they normally would have done. Take care of their family, drop the kids off, go to the supermarket, whatever it is you used to do before. You wasn't able to do those things because you didn't want to get caught driving, illegally. So I think that letter now will justify you getting the driver's license while your work permit is still being processed.
Okay, so what we have to do now, go to the labor and get a driver's license.
That's the information that I read online. That's the information that should be now at the Labor Department.
Okay. Next question.
Go right ahead.
Some weeks ago, I was relating an incident to the gentleman there about this man this insane man here that attacked me. So he said that he was going to look into the issue, but since then I didn't hear him said anything about it. Did you, at any point in time, get to look into that issue, or did you elaborate on it since then? Because for the past, since then I didn't get to watch the program back then.
You're talking about Eggy, or you're talking about the other fella?
Not Heggie, the other fellow. Heggie is cool.
Okay,
The other fellow is really hostile.
well, a lot of people also having the same feeling about Eggy too, because several incidents happened with Eggy. The problem is that we got a few nuisance around town. And I don't know if that's the right word or not, but that's what they are. They're a nuisance to people. In some regards, they're harmless. But in your situation, you had a physical altercation,
Yes,
and you
that
want
man directly come to attack me.
yes.
And I'm just cutting in here. He's the same guy. I was by the Chinese restaurant sometime, and a cruise ship was in harbor, and the tourists then came off it and come there, and they were there buying some lunch and so on. And they went outside and the chairs out there to have the lunch. And he had attacked a lady from the tourists there. And the people there had to take up them thing and get away from the fast. So it's just not me alone. It happened too. It happened to a tourist who went to buy lunch there at the Chinese restaurant there too. I witnessed it. So, I don't know.
Well, the government is fully aware of these guys out there. I mean, just last week, Tuesday, I think it was, down at Waterfront, twice the cops them came and picked up Eggy, and within a matter of hour or two, he was gone. He was back on the street.
I think the problem.
It's a very challenging situation.
I think some of the problem is that I think we're having a number of social issues, and the social development department probably is not able to manage it because we have not expanded some areas of it to accommodate those those kind of situations. So that may be one of the problems. I am probably a little old school on this issue, but I've been in a situation from when I was studying in New York where they closed down a lot of institutions that used to cater to mental illness, because the thought at the time was that by institutionalizing mental patients, you make them worse rather than make them better. Now that caused a lot of negative things in a place called Carlton where I was, and I could understand how it would be negative because you're going to have these people interacting with people on a regular basis. But I'm still of the opinion if we have proper mental health screening, proper mental health persons going around and ensuring that people get the proper medication and stuff like that, it can be managed, I think, without institutionalizing the persons. So I'm sure I'll hear some comment about that, but that is my view on that matter.
You're right about what you're saying, but for whatever it's worth, I think it needs to be with.
Well, thank you, Guy.
Okay.
All right. Well, Sam, we reached to that point in the show where we're going to have to take a break for these sponsors that make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local digital numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, good evening. We're back. We're right back at you with these issues. I'm going to read directly from the text. Sam 1 for you. It says, Sam, I believe that with the letter, the permit should be extended for 2 months, and if your permit is not renewed, then your driver's license will remain non-valid.
Well, I want to just clear up. So, because we have some people texting me also asking about, am I sure about the letter? So the press release came out on March 9th. So people know March 9th is when the Minister for Communication and Work had issued this information to the public that person who are in process of getting their work permit renewed will now be able to obtain a letter. It's in the press releases on Platinum News. You can do a search in Platinum News in the archive and pull up that article. So folks can have that information. So that's exactly how it stands. The overall policy says stand, but the minister have implemented new measures to help facilitate those folks that are in the process of getting their work permit renewed. They would be issued a letter from the Labor Department, and in that note, you can go and get your driver's license renewed. I don't think the work permit should be extended because it hasn't been renewed yet. When the work permit is in process, that means they're going through all the legalities of it, whether or not your employer wants you back, whether or not you're a good employee, whether or not you're a desirable person to stay in the country or stay at that job. Sometimes this is the whole up too. It ain't just the system, it ain't just the government. It's also whether or not your employer really wants you back. So that's the process right now, is that you'll get a letter, you take that to the driver's license department, your driver's license can be renewed for 1 year while your work permit comes through. But if it doesn't come through, it doesn't matter if you leave or not, because the government makes some money, and the driver's license is invalid anyway because you won't be in the country to use it. So.
Yeah, just one thing. One of the texts that came in asked where else this is happening, and I could tell that person right in the good US of A. In the United States of America, they have a similar policy concerning driver's license.
Well, currently in the United States, pretty much every state now, ever since 9/11, the new Homeland Security Act. If you haven't heard about it, go look at it. Bush had signed it into law, where driver's license now is actually being tied in to verify your citizenship.
Yes.
So, and if you're not a citizen of the country, now they're scrutinizing you, so you got to prove a whole lot of other things. So some states vary, different policies in different places, but overall, they are doing it. They're using driver's license now. In Georgia, I can speak to Georgia, for example, they take your fingerprint when you go get your driver's license renewed, and they do a background check, whether you realize it or not. So big old USA does things like this.
Yeah, another one I can say, it's a good night. My driver's license expires in August, and my work permit expires December. Within 4 months, I would like to know what to do. Well, my advice would be to tell you to go and try and get your letter, so that you can get your driver's license renewed from now, in case there's a problem. Another text that just came in, I see. You get a receipt when you drop your work permit off. Why not use that? The permit is signed by the employer. You're saying the person?
That's also a good measure.
Yeah, I think that's a good measure.
But you
still need a letter according to government. According to government, you still need a letter.
Yeah.
So
If the government say you need a letter,
you need a letter.
Take the receipt and a letter together.
Exactly.
You know, it's better to have more than you need and not use it than to need it and don't have it. So, I would definitely push for that. That's a policy within the Labor Department that they, helping to facilitate folks that need help. So.
Could you turn your television set down, please? Good evening. If you speak your mind, go right ahead, please.
Good evening, Courtney and Sam. How you guys doing tonight?
We're fine. And yourself?
Pretty fair, thank you.
Okay.
First, I'd like to start off and congratulating Dr. Smith and the NDP for opening up the transportation service to Anegada.
Good thing there.
I figure it's no more than appropriate to thank those good gentlemen for that wonderful effort.
They say must give cahoots where cahoots are due.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, huh? Yeah, so that's all that I think that shouldn't go unnoticed. So we want to thank them very much. And I've been wondering sometime along if there was any possibility that they might have been able to try to pull those strips up from any one of the cruise ships. I'm just throwing out ideas. So that could make it economic feasible. If they would be able to bring some people, they might have to change a little bit of the time factor, but I don't know. I'm just talking.
No, but your idea is an absolutely good idea, and I usually think in the opposite way. But maybe I might be pro Anegadian, but I think about one day having airlift from Anegada and then bringing people over here. But either way, it makes total economic sense to me. The idea of using the territory, the entire territory. You take your tourists and you manage them in the territory. One of my colleagues I speak to about it all the time, I tell him, in the ferry business, the ferry should be trying to ensure that they have interconnection within the islands locked up by all people.
Yes, man.
But
I have a vision, Courtney, right? Is that to me, there should be a building built from Beef Island straight to Trellis Bay. And the whole of Trellis Bay should be like a big air-conditioned room with a beautiful harbor. And if you want to fly people from Anegada to Tortola, ride by taxi, take them all the way to Long Bay. I don't know. It's just a future vision. Because sometimes, you got to have a visionary to see. And sometimes you have to actually be industrial to be able to hit the economic agenda to create what you're looking for.
Well, for those of us who travel a lot, right? I mean, you only have to look around us very close by, and you will see that what you're saying is something that has been done in a number of countries. The Turks and Caicos Islands, they have a number of islands. They have a main airport on one island. Look at the Bahamas. They have a main airport on one island, but Bahama Air will take you to any one of the other islands. Look at the other places like Hawaii. Hawaii have a number of islands. But they have one main airport, and then from that airport, Hawaiian Air will take you to any other of the islands that you need to get to. So this isn't anything rocket science. This is something that's happening in a lot of other countries that are similar to our country, where you have more than one island and you need a major airport.
A little bit of common sense and some careful thinking, and to get the economic engine rolling, you must have other islands inclusive. And we must not be afraid to industrialize and to strengthen our people. I thank you, gentlemen, very much for taking my call.
Carla, before you go.
Thanks to Dr. Smith and the NDP for granting us a transportation in and out of Anegada, and I hope that now that we can capitalize on the tourists. And thank you, gentlemen, very much. I'll now sit back and listen.
Wait, Carla, before you go, I want to ask you a quick question.
Yes, sir.
You live in Anegada?
Yes, sir.
You know of any investors that you and I could tap into? I have some brilliant ideas. I have 5 contacts for 5 different cruise liners that are still currently coming to the BVI. Why don't you and I get together and put together some of those beautiful ambience in Anegada that people keep saying we're not paying attention to Anegada, and they have a lot over there to sell. And some of these same people come in, especially the Germans. but love what you guys have to sell in Anegada. A lunch stop at one of your restaurants or two, a beach stop, a snorkel stop, a lobster hunt, you know, a bird watching, a flamingo watching. I mean, all you need to do is find me 3 or 4 investors where we can get a nice sized boat that can reach Anegada in 1 hour. I'm soliciting business. You see where I'm going with this? But your train of thought is beautiful.
We need to sit down and have a round of talks.
Let's do it.
You know, one of the things that I like to always aspire to is that we need to form cooperation so we can generate funding, so that we can build the entire British Virgin Islands and all a solid piece of the economic development. You see, sometimes we are afraid to leap into the deep, but we need to leap into the deep to protect people 20 to 40 years down the road.
For prosperity.
So if we give ourselves that economic engine, we wouldn't have to worry.
Well,
we would be equal with any other investor. But I will sit with you, Sammy, and we will have a round of talks, because we need to do something to stimulate the entire British Virgin Islands economy, and in particular, use Anegada in a useful way.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'll sit back now and listen.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks for that interaction, Carl.
Courtney, I want to say, you know, that caller right there touched and hit the nail really, really hard on top. One of the biggest factors in trying to solicit cruise ship business to any territory is having areas where they can sell, they can promote. And one of the things that we fail to do as BVI Islanders is completely capitalize on these opportunities. Because first of all, we're afraid to network, we're afraid to join forces together, and we're afraid to pool our resources.
Sam, one of the worst things to me is we see the cruise directors as the enemy. We're supposed to see the cruise directors as the friend.
They are a friend.
That person is supposed to be your intimate friend, because whatever the cruise director tell the tourists to do, that's exactly what the tourists do. If you don't get to the cruise director and have your business on their program, the tourists are not going to go there.
Absolutely.
The tourists walk around with a guide from the cruise director, and that is the only thing they're looking for.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that some of our businesses don't see it that way.
Yeah.
You know, I really see it as a opportunity, not being used. We got a couple of texts while we were there waiting. Some person said that we should tell the school children that they should be more mindful when they're crossing on the crosswalk, and you know, be a little more hasty rather than just dragging the feet. You know.
It ain't just school children, and we also have people in this community that believe they see money when they see you coming. You know, they take that sweet little time, they challenge you, so to speak. You have the right of way at the time, but they step out into the street. A friend of mine told me that she just came back from one of the states in the United States, and they have this method that they employ where they have flags on either side of the road. And if you cross in the street, you can pick up one of those flags. It's a yellow flag, and you wave that flag to indicate to the driver that you're coming. In most places, I know, like in Orlando, they have the flashing yellow lights. Once you hit the crosswalk, the sensor tells the light you're ready to cross, in addition to pushing the button, that you're ready to cross. And the driver's fully aware of that now, because the light is blinking. And on the crosswalk, that's really what a crosswalk is supposed to come with, that blinking light. Our crosswalk is a line in the street, and people say, you must be mindful of that. Yes, but at the same time, people are doing whatever they want to do and think that
is okay.
I won't put my life on the line like that, man. I think it's foolish for people to do that.
But Sam, you know, in addition to that too, we don't have proper lighting at a number of these crosswalks.
That's right.
So in the night, it's even more dangerous. You know, so, you know,
especially around that roundabout, man.
Especially around the roundabout where we had lights, and we took them down. I mean, we had street lights. I'm not talking about the traffic lights now. We had street lights there, and we took them down. So it's an accident waiting to happen, and we're talking about it because that's what we do. We talk. So those that listen and have the ability to do, hope you correct some of these things before we have an actual fatality.
Yeah.
Another text that came in, well, not a text, but I've been talking with some of my colleagues as well. We see we have some new flags at the House of Assembly. And I've been pleading with our people to take down these flags in the night. No real country don't fly flags in the night. You fly flags in the day, and then when 6 o'clock come, you take them down and then you put them up the other. As a matter of fact, in some countries, there's a ceremony for putting up the flags and for changing up the guard. I paid money already to go to see the changing of the guard in London, you know.
Speaking of changing of the guard, right?
Yes,
I know the minister. I mean the chief is
Yes.
supposed to be leaving the force soon.
Okay.
What's going to happen?
You mean the commissioner of
the
police?
commissioner of police,
Yeah.
Mr. Fraser. When he leaves, what's going to happen to that? Is the next guy in line who's there on contract, does he automatically step up or act in a position? I mean,
you're asking a good question, but I think we're going to hear from that rather sooner than later, because I understand that this is something that may come on stream within the next, couple of months. So I'm pretty sure we'll hear, but that's a good debate. I mean, I would even go so far as to say even a changing of the guard might be a ceremony, you know. Going right along, someone texts again about the nurses. They're saying that they're not renewing some of the contracts for the nurses and then calling them back to work. So, I mean, we have a shortage of nurses. And don't forget someone told me to mention about the fact that some of the people that are being laid off were in St. Thomas, the nurses and the people that work for Hovenza. Some of them might be coming out. Some of them might be entitled to work here. They might have families here. They might be from here, and they might come back here looking jobs. So we might be mindful that our employment situation might change drastically overnight.
Well, I mean, if they're BVI landlords and they have rights to work in the country and they have skill sets, it might mean that some of the folks who are sitting around thinking that we can't get rid of them, I'm not advocating getting rid of anybody, but I'm simply saying if you have 10 people in St. Thomas that are professional nurse and they're BVI landlords and they want to come home and take up their rightful place, it's still home. I can't go against that, but I'm not too worried about folks coming back to Tortola. I don't think anybody who's been away for so long wants to come back to Tortola. Everybody think that we still living in the dark ages, so nobody ain't coming to Tortola. They running going to America. They ain't coming here. So folks, don't worry. You're secure. Once you do your job right, you're all right. You're secure.
We had another text that came in that said that we have a strong dollar and we should look to other parts of the Caribbean to invest and promote what we're doing, especially in the transportation and technology area. I think that's definitely an area for growth as well. I think so. Someone texting again asking about the housing for government ministers and whether or not the governor is looking into it. I don't know what happens in other Caribbean countries, but I know here in our territory we pay for the premier to live in his house, and we also have housing allowance for other members of government.
Yeah, but I also heard that first-time ministers who didn't win back their seat also get a full-year scholarship, full-year salary. Is that true? I don't. I was just reading that in the paper the other day. That one of the papers, I should say.
First-year ministers.
Yeah. If you were in ministry before, in government before, that was your first time,
right? And
you didn't win the second time around. Like right now, you were compensated at least 1 year salary.
Wow.
$36,000 to $90,000. So
wow.
That's something worthwhile looking into.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. But folks, don't hesitate. Just call us, let us know what's going on.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of concern about beach management and all kinds of things happening out there. So call us and let us know.
We have a text. We're going to go to the text. Yeah. Good evening. If you speak your mind, go right ahead, please.
Good evening. I hear you say on many occasions talking about how people on their jobs and temporary for so long.
Yes.
Okay. I agree and very much more disagree with you.
Well, tell me how you disagree.
from here, right?
Yes.
And what I see happening in my country, by my own people, our government sending us off to school. And when we come back, we want to be super director overnight, microwave positions. We stay in these positions, we fix up ourselves, try our best to get conformed, because once we conform, they can't touch us. And in certain departments, they leave these departments, go to the dogs. And then what our government do now? Because they can't get rid of some of these nuisances, they start to shift them around. And when they shift them around now, they're there now for the next 25 years or 30 whatever years to get the sweet pension. And guess what? At the end of the day, the joke is on us, the taxpayers, and the government. And I think that is wrong. And that is what my people doing. That is what my people doing. Let's talk about the nurses and expatriates and whatever it is you want to call them. I heard on many occasions, 3 nurses on 3 different occasions in the space of, in the span of 1 year. I heard nurses say, me don't care about working here or nothing, just give me my pension and let me go back home. That's where you need to send these people home. How are we going to keep our money in our country when you have people coming here, getting what they can get in their own country and want to be equal to us? We're killing ourselves and them know that we're stupid enough to let them kill us. And that is what's going on. You saying, okay, this person here 10 years and this person there 10 and that person there this kind of years and can get conformed. I believe all of us need to be in that position because what it is our forefathers work for to get us where we at. We have a bunch of nuisances turning it around and sinking our country. Sinking our country, and then all the government can do is shift these nuisances around, shift them around because they can't get rid of them because they don't conform already and they're using it against us. So make them stay. If you even want to unconform me, I don't even care. But they are taking these situations and they are using it against us. And something needs to be done. If I don't send home the nurses, then I will be glad. Send them home. I remember being in the hospital and 5 of them, I am scheduled for surgery at 9 o'clock. Get up 6 o'clock to get ready for my surgery. 6 o'clock I get up, ready. 9 o'clock, I don't know what happened. The doctor must be delayed in a previous surgery. I ain't worried about that. But long story short, you know when them 5 nuisances look at me, when I went to their station where they were gossiping 4 o'clock the afternoon. 4 o'clock. I couldn't eat because I had surgery. So me eat from the Tuesday. All the Tuesday me eat. Wednesday afternoon, 4 o'clock, I had to go there and say, what kind of dog are you think lying down in the bed inside there? From 9 o'clock scheduled and ready to go for surgery, and it is 4 o'clock now, and I ain't get a drink of water from none of you. You think them care? Send them home. Send them home. Everybody coming in and say how stupid that all the people is. All of us stupid. We just staying right here and let everybody coming in here and walking all over us. And then we whine and whine and whine and whine and whine. That is what happening. So I agree with you in a sense, but in another sense, this is what our own people doing. They're using the system and then turning back the clock on what people work so hard to put us where we is right now. And that's all I got to speak.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you for your input. I hear what you say and I understand some of what you're talking about. It's a difficult kind of situation, but I want to just remind you one thing. I want to remind you that the persons that work in these various departments and whatnot, they fall under a ministry, and the minister is supposed to provide a direction for the ministry. If the minister is not providing the direction for the ministry, something is wrong. Also too, the governor, the civil service, the police, the judiciary falls under the governor, and if the governor is not doing what he's supposed to do, I think he as well would have to look into these types of issues and make sure that persons are doing what they're supposed to do. It is a problem where persons are not doing what they're supposed to do and being confirmed. I agree with that as well. And we the people have to put more checks and balances in place. I agree. I'm going to go to the phone. Yeah, good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a concern. I mean, I agree with the young lady that called before.
Okay.
But, I mean, we have to look at it from a realistic point of view. If, let's say today, that the government or the ministry or whoever should decide to send home those particular nuisances, quote unquote, that this lady is talking about.
Okay.
Who is going to run the hospital?
Who is going? Well, I saw a couple of the nurses that retired. I saw them back there in the hospital the other day, and I thought that was a good idea. As a matter of fact, I'm also advocating that maybe some of the retired policemen should probably go back and do contracts with the police so that you have continuity. Sometimes when you look at an organization and it's top heavy, you understand what I mean by top heavy? Where there are too many of one type of person in positions, or where some of the people are very young, and you need some of the older people to still show some continuity and teach some of them with the experience that they have gained over the years, that type of thing. I think there's room for that type of mixture on some of these public jobs as well as some of the private jobs.
I agree, but at the same time, I think this might be my personal opinion. Some may agree and some may disagree. But at the same time, I understand the young lady's pain, but she should be a bit more respectful to the people that are here, at least trying to help. I mean, some of them may have the mentality that she says that those 5 young ladies, those 5 nurses had. But at the same time, they are human just like she is. It is a day. So I think she should have a more respect, for want of a better word.
God, I want to say it. I'm going to say it on your side tonight. And I'm going to say it just simply, I had an experience down there at the hospital. So did my wife and my son. And the people at the hospital, given what they have to work with, I give them an A. I give them an A for everything, for trying, for effort, for attention. I mean, the hospital to me is in such a bad state. And a lot of these people, there's some problems. There's no doubt. There's some problems. There's some situation, but all in all, and people in situations like that, police officers, hospital workers, whether they're from here or not, and they out there trying and they trying to save lives and help others. I'm on their side. I'm on their side. I don't want to send none of them home. I want to keep all of them.
Thank you.
And if they work hard for a pension, they deserve to get their pension, regardless of where they're from. So I like the way you articulate that. That was very nice.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your
calling.
Well, Sam, as usual, we have a call. We're going to take a call and then we're going to go on break. Good evening. You're free to speak your mind. Go ahead. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, I called him back to the young lady. I think I should have more respect for the nurses. When you're in a position, and it ain't once, it ain't twice. When you're in a position that I have been in on numerous occasions and seen other persons in the same occasion, when she put on those shoes and go down to Peebles and feel the same pain I feel, let me see how much respect she's going to have. Not only that, you see how many young people we have, Tolians that can't find work?
Yes.
You see how much of them that can't find work? And we have these people here and talking about, what will you mean you going to tell me about how send them home and bring them back? We need to be training the children who can't find work. Bring them back for what?
Well, thank you, Carla. We're being begged to take a break right now, but we're going to take what you say into consideration.
Carla, before you go real quick, I like your energy. Do you know of any young lady, young man, at least 2 or 3 right now, that you could probably hold their hand and take them down to the Ministry of Health so we can try to get them?
10.
Okay.
I could give you 10.
So first thing Monday. First thing Monday.
Listen, even I know you have to go on a break.
Yeah.
I would call that.
Okay. Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're having some live discussion, but as usual, these persons that make the show possible, we have to, take a break so we could get our sponsors in. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.
I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Yes, viewers or loyal supporters, we're right back here with you. We have a number of texts that came on while we were off air, and I'll get to a few of them. Condolences go out to the Kiwana family.
I hear you up there.
A number of persons texting asking for us to give the family of Kiwana Rima their condolences. Also, condolences to the Donovan family. We also had some texts that came in said we should have respect for Honorable O'Neill because he has served the country for a number of years. I don't know the exact number of years,
a lot.
Sam, but
almost
I know it's
40.
Yeah, I think it's more than 40 years. And this type of information should be public knowledge. So I think we should encourage our legislators to put out proper information about the ministers and the past representatives. We have a lot of past representatives that people don't probably know they were past representatives who have served for a long time. And also, I mean, Mr. O'Neill, he has been in a number of positions, from being district representative to being administrator.
Courtney, that text there, that person texted us twice.
Yes.
And the texter is right. Mr. O'Neill deserves a lot of respect, a lot of recognition. And I'd be one of the first ones to say that. But I think that texter also need to understand that Mr. O'Neill ran in the last election.
Yes.
He ran to represent the people of the 9th district, and had he won the government, he would have been the premier.
Right.
We can't have no representative in this country not showing up. People don't know where he's at, don't hold community meetings. People calling, talking about potholes in Airport Road. You got a major port of entry right there with small planes, and people need representation. And if you're going to represent, you must represent. If you can't handle the job, give it up. Give it to somebody else. Let somebody else pass it on. It's an institution Mr. O'Neill is representing, not himself. The institution gonna always survive. It's a Virgin Islands party. It's an institution. He's part of the institution. If he can't hold up his part of the portfolio, pass it on. So don't be offended in saying that we're disrespecting Mr. O'Neill. We're not. It's not a disrespect to call out your minister or your representative to say, where are you?
Yeah.
It's been 5 months now and people want representation, and you could say that for any of the other ministers.
Sam, hold the thought. Oh, sorry we missed a call.
So I don't think the person should be offended.
Yeah, sorry we missed a call. Please call back.
There's no reason. Virgin Garden, the 9th District, there's billions of dollars up there that all people could be capitalizing on. If you're the representative...
Part of the biggest part of the economy.
Yes. I mean, there's so much opportunity. You need somebody up front.
Yeah. Good evening. You have reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, Courtney, Sam.
Good night.
On the hospital issue,
Yes.
we got to look at solution.
Yes.
When are we going to move to get a nurses training school?
Well, that's a good thought. That is something that we should have put in place at the same time while we sign a contract to build a hospital. We know the length of time it takes to get nurses trained, and we know the length of time it should take to build a hospital, although, we're way over time at trying to build this hospital.
Well, exactly. I mean to say, if you don't have people here being trained to go into that field of work, to make that field a career for locals.
Yeah.
Other islands and countries, they're doing it. Why can't we train our people, develop the facilities?
Exactly.
And another issue with the same hospital, one time I went down there to do some checks and stuff like that. I had to be going back 3-4 times for the same problem. When I went to the front desk, I got a cashier specifically just told me, you have to pay up front.
That's a policy that they have there, I understand.
Right. But when I went down the road now, Tammy, I think she's the PRO, and I spoke to her and she told me, no, they have a policy as well where you can do a payment plan and stuff like that. The whole issue that wasn't explained from the front desk, but that they didn't know. So I'm just saying that to say that sometimes things do happen in the field of work, in government offices and so on. Sometimes I'm just making a provocative statement here, where it takes 3-4 weeks to do a memo. In the hospital, you have a lot of activities going on. Sometimes 8, 9, 10 tasks get thrown at the nurses at the same time.
That's true, and also emergencies.
Yes, and you have to bear these things in mind. If something comes up that's more important, they deem more important than your issue, they would have to go and give it that.
Yes.
And we have to learn to understand how the healthcare system is. So I wouldn't be too critical of the nurses because of experiences, and I see how they operate when I go there and stuff like that. They're quite busy from the time they get in.
Okay.
So we got some time. I'll show them love and stuff like that. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Sam, that's someone appealing for us to show the nurses love.
Yeah, I think we should show the nurses love too.
We should show them a lot of love.
And the doctors too.
Yeah. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Sam, aside of what is the concern in the person for the 9th district, if he's not able, he needs to say something. And the caller was just called about training nursing schools. I would like him to go to Andrew Farr and ask him about it, for he gave the Chinese our tax dollars to walk about in Tatola to tell him where to put our nursing school. So let him go ask Andrew concern me. Thank you, good night.
You mean the Chinese from Jamaica?
I think the person already left,
Yeah.
Well, I think a nursing school would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In this time.
Definitely.
And it begs the question. We have another call. Good evening. You've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Turn your TV down a little bit.
I just calling on behalf of the nurses, what the lady were calling and criticizing. She don't do things like that when people come and represent and work for you and criticize them on national TV like that. It don't look proper. Like, she needs to think about what she's saying before she calls the show. Because you don't treat people like that. You have a contract with them, contract over there, you don't want to resign it, they don't resign, but just send them home. It don't sound proper. And when she calls back, you need to speak to her and let she know that she don't need to say it like that. Because if she did have an anger, she can take it out on the people then. Because when a person doing surgery, I believe the doctor give them a test time before, maybe 4 hours before, with them to eat and drink or something like that.
Yes.
But she's speaking out of anger and it's just not so on. She needs to get a hold of herself and after talking about the letter, we're talking about the license. Where you get that letter from?
The Labor Department.
Okay, the Labor Department give you a license when you permit in and you get it, and then you take it to the license department.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's gonna be a touchy one.
Yeah.
You know, I understand the caller's position. I mean, she had a bad experience.
She had a very bad experience. Yeah. Good evening. You're speaking your mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, sir, gentlemen, just call. Listen, I have seen over and over. They say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You understand me? How would he, wherever he come from, like me, I told him to go in his country, go say, just give me them pension, let me go back home. That's an insult. That's an insult to me. That is an insult to me. And how they gonna come in our country and insult us like that? We must stand by and let that happen. We have to stand by and let that happen. They have to respect us too. If you don't like the positions in your job, if you don't like what is going on in your job, go home. Nobody got you tied down here. And if I have to go in your country, rather than treat you anyhow, I'd rather come back home. I have to treat you with respect in your country like you have to treat me with respect in mine. And I am tired of going down there and having people coming in here and showing off on me. This is where I born. And if you don't like what's going on in where I born, you can simply take the same plane, you come this way and go back the next way. That is no disrespect. But you can't come in my country, come tell me you just want my pension and you gone back home. Even if you feel that way, keep it to yourself.
We hear you loud and clear, the lady. Well, Sam, that's what the lady says, her point of view.
And I respect the lady's point of view.
You have to respect her point of view as well.
Carla, your point of view is well taken. It's well taken.
Yeah, it's, some of the...
It's about respect for her, you know.
Yeah, we have a caller that's coming in. Yeah, good evening. You've speaking your mind. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening. Just recently, I was hearing the minister was talking about taxi matters. He was going to meet with the taxi drivers to discuss, formulating some kind of policy for the taxi.
Yes.
And my whole thing is with the taxi operation here in the BVI. Why don't the taxi drivers try to see the medallion process? Because, I see a lot of young BVI landers, fathers and whatnot have taxis. And if he was to pass, he can't, his son can't go and pick up and get the business.
Yeah.
So with a medallion, he could pass the medallion on to his sons, and all the sons have to do is go and qualify to be to the taxi test, and he become a taxi driver instead of going through this long process of him applying to the minister to get taxi plates and whatnot. And that's where the taxi business will remain in the hands of the family.
Well, caller, I have Sam here next to me, but I think just like you, I think that we should have already adopted the medallion system, although some persons point out to me some flaws with the medallion system where persons can abuse the thing and end up selling the medallion to persons for thousands of dollars and stuff like that. But at the same time, I take your point of view, the idea that if you have people who are in the business and they can pass it on to their family members or have a retirement plan out of the taxi business, a way of earning an income while they may not be as able as they are right now. So
yeah, because I'm talking from experience. I know Simon. I've seen him to some of the trade shows I attended for the FCCA conference. I'm the chairman of the board for the taxi cab commission for the youth president, and I love BVI, and I live in the two. If somebody was just contact me and ask my, so I can give a little input, I'm willing to help. I ain't looking at money. This is my country. I'm looking to see that the BVI go ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned who you are now, so I know exactly how to approach you. I was hoping I didn't put my foot in my mouth. So since I got you on the phone, obviously I support the medallion system, but only for retirees, folks at a certain age, not for any and anybody. But let me ask you this: in the U.S. Virgin Islands, to own a medallion, don't you still have to be sanctioned by the taxi commission or livery system? You have to have some form of taxi license in order to buy a medallion?
No, anybody can buy a medallion.
So anybody off the street who don't have a taxi license can buy a medallion and drive a medallion?
No, but having a medallion isn't necessarily that you will get a taxi license. You know, there's certain rules and procedures.
So you still have to have a taxi license in order to operate it, correct?
Yeah. There's a whole,
okay.
But
that's how it is in New York City too.
Yeah, you must have a taxi license to operate the medallion.
Yes, but the medallion itself. Explain to the people. I could do it, but I want to hear you say, what exactly is the medallion? Is it the vehicle or the actual medallion that you purchase?
Okay, the medallion is like a bronze piece of metal, you know, and you know people walk around with that. And each person who buys a medallion is entitled in the U.S. Virgin Islands. You could own up to 2 medallions per person, you know? And it's so good in the BVI, whereas in the American market, like a free market system, you could put safeguard into place where only BVI could own medallions. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time, what do you do with the folks who are not BVI landers by birth, but BVI landers through residency and citizenship process? How are you going to deny them?
Well, you know, there's a process you go through. You know, once you are naturalized BVI lander, you know, but you want to keep the taxi industry business with this but the only industry that local people from all the Caribbean islands control. You know, the taxi business. And you know, a taxi driver is not just a taxi driver, no, you're a tour operator. It's a business, you know. And you know, once you are naturalized BVI citizen, you know, you could own a medallion, but I don't think people who are permitted, why not should be permitted to buy. This should be fully for BVI islanders, naturalized or natural born or belongers, you know. But
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear, Carlo. Yeah, seems like a good idea to me, but it's just to get the associations. Listen to me good. Associations, because they have more than one association. Get the associations together and let's get it going.
Well, Carla, you know, there's a number of things that are involved to getting a medallion to the level it needs to be in order to have it, in order for it to be recognized as such. I mean, you have to have the banking institution. Be able to, you know, laws have to go in place that recognize the strength of a medallion and maturity of it. The system have to again, only people who legally have a taxi license, which is the same process you have to go through now, can actually drive a medallion. But then at the same time, you got to think about the people who might try to abuse the system, because we have a lot of abuse in the system right now that we can't even control.
No, but in the youth budget, there's a lot of safeguards involved. You know, it's not an easy process to, I'm on the phone about it and whatnot, but there's a lot of safeguards involved with the medallion process.
Yeah, but remember my good friend, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, you carry a big gun, and the little lady who usually sit next to me every time we go to FCCA, she carry a big gun too, and when she says stop and pull over, you better stop and pull over. Here, when's the last time you've been in Caribbean, you see a policeman, except for the ones you know that live down there, pulling anybody over?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, all right. All right, Carla.
It's a thought, you know, and, you know, I go probably get some paperwork and whatnot, how the the medallion process coming to be in the U.S. version. I like to turn it over to you, brother. You know.
No, that's a good idea. I don't know if you remember when Watlington was a senator, and he helped us with the horse racing. And that was how we were able to get inter-island racing. He brought the legislation, what they were working with in St. Thomas, and worked with all legislators here. And that's how we were able to get a horse race. That's how the horses are able to come over and quarantine for a certain time and be able to go back to the U.S. Virgin Islands and all that kind of stuff. So if we could get a legislation, we could, have all people look at it, and we can and we could move from there.
Okay. Because we want people, and we got to look out for each other, man.
Exactly.
I'm told you, I want to have a different thing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thanks for watching.
Thanks. Yeah, well, we had a good interaction there. I hope it come out to be something fruitful, because I know one or two people who would benefit from it. Yeah. Good evening. You speak your mind. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, that's my question. On traffic, higher traffic. Now we have a problem.
Turn on your TV a little bit.
We have a problem with
your television giving us some feedback, okay?
Traffic and conversating with each other, blocking up your traffic. But it's so sad to know that Friday afternoon on the stretch from Bapi to the park, officer is getting park. They're chatting with the young lady, stop up your traffic. A lady having some snow behind him. He actually wants to jump out of the vehicle to come to the woman, and this is an officer. And now if we can set the example, these are the people supposed to set the right example. Yes. And he stop up the whole road. We're looking at Friday, you know what's going on, around 4 o'clock that time on the stretch.
Yes.
And this is a officer blocking up the place. And this is something that is bad and bad. Everybody feels like we just stop, whether by the highway, on the one meal way, but they just stop, chat to them after chat, get it whole traffic blocked up. The other day by the mooring, the lights take home, but you cannot go. Now you had a little some wood fall off a 3-yard truck, they might try fixing it. A lady come up last night, stop chatting with the fellow in the truck. The lights ain't go, nobody cannot go. Everybody hand up, shift off.
Yeah, that's...
Very much have to them then go.
Those
I think we have to look into this thing, the traffic department has to do it, but sad to know that people doing it.
Yeah.
And these are very sad things.
Well, I agree with you, that we should all lead by example. But in addition to that, too, you're raising a good point that maybe the traffic department, the police traffic department, the DMV, and the ministry should probably get together on a regular basis and try to iron out some of these traffic issues that we have. We have peak hour traffic here that, in my opinion, could be sorted out a number of ways. There are a number of ways to deal with peak hour traffic. There's no rocket scientists that need to tell me the number of people that leave Rotown every day and go to East End. We know. We could count the cars. We know what the situation is like, and maybe a little bit of soul searching could solve some of these problems. But you need a meeting of the minds. Good evening. You're speaking mind. Go ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
That lady who called and said that Andrew White takes the money to bring in the doctors. She don't know what she's saying. She has a problem. It was not doctors, it was nurses. It was not nurses, it was doctors. She don't know what she's saying. She has a problem. Okay. Let her go and pray to God about her problem.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you, caller. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, Sam, as usual, we're going to have to take a break now for these sponsors to make the show possible. So we're going to take a break and we're going to be right back.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price point from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local digital numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
We're right back with you as we're looking at some of the text. We're having challenges trying to keep up with all the texts and calls, but trying our best. One of the texts that came in speaks about, as a matter of fact, let me try and go straight to the text so you see what we're saying about that. There's so many texts that came in. I said, when the government's going to investigate Long Bay ill treatment into the workers from here, the outsiders are treated better in position and pay. That's one of the texts that came in. It says, Long Bay resort job switching to prevent hiring islanders for opening positions that they have. Again, seems like Long Bay is in the news. We say, I hear what all the callers are saying, but how can you explain us losing 5 returning local nurses last summer because they were told there were no job openings in health? Now, we can't have it both ways. We can't be turning away local nurses and turning away expatriate nurses and saying that we need nurses. You know, something isn't adding up somehow. We got a text that came in here. So it says the man still didn't explain what a medallion is. So Sam, I don't know if you want to take another trying to explain what a medallion is.
Well, medallion is simple. It's a in New York and different places where they have medallion. It's the emblem that you put on top of a hood of a vehicle. Most of the time, it's a sedan.
Right.
That there with the authorities' approval and the government's approval carries a value, and that value can be sold later on or trade in or used as asset to secure other loans or whatever it is.
Right.
It just so happened that the medallion is placed on a vehicle, and in most places that have medallion system, they use the vehicles for transportation, for taxi, for shuttle, for livery, high-end service, whatever it is. But most of the time it's taxi service. Most of the guys that own medallion, after they retire, they get out the business, they can sell a medallion. But again, in most places, the medallion can only be sold to a bona fide taxi operator, somebody who still have to go through the process and get a taxi license and be able to buy and purchase that medallion. And then he himself now would own it. And then the ownership and whatever comes with it carries with him.
Okay. Yeah, good evening. If you speak your mind, go right ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Good night.
No, I understand from the point of view about where it's coming from. But what I'm saying, you know what I mean? The earth is the Lord of the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein, including me, you guys there, the lady, the animals. I mean, well, we are Caribbean people. We are not European people. Then we got to learn to live together. You understand? All of us could never be one place. Some of us have to be here, some have to be there. In fact about it, we are here for one common goal, development. So we don't need to be fighting against who come from here, who don't come from here. It's a fact about, I know, which is a good initiative the administration take by trying to get employment for the youth and so on and so forth. It's really a good thing. But we don't need to beat on one another, who is from here and who is from there. We are all Caribbean people. When are we going to get it, my brethren? We are Caribbean people, we are not European people, we are not from China, we are Caribbean people.
The only thing I hear you say so far is why can't we all get along?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We need to live with each other. We need to get, because God put us here for all of us to inhabit here. This is where we have to be unheard. Including Tartola, America, Cuba, wherever it is. We all have to spread over the globe.
Yeah.
So wherever we find ourselves and whatever we find to do, as the Bible says, whatever you are trying to do it well.
Yeah.
We don't need to be fighting down people, my brethren. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Sam, I get one person to give me a call and say, give peace a chance. Peace is a small word with a lot of meaning. And we somehow we seem to. Good evening, you've reached Speak Your Mind. Go right ahead, please.
Yes, me again. I want my point to be taken very clearly. Although I'm from here, I had the opportunity to live abroad for many years.
Okay.
And I governed myself to respect where I went and respect the laws from where I went.
Okay.
And instead of staying there and insulting those people where I went, if I didn't like it, I came back home.
Okay.
That's the point. We all have to travel. Not because I'm from here, it doesn't mean that I can't go to a place else. And it doesn't mean that other people can't come here. The point of the matter is, I can't go in another man's country and make my mouth bigger than them. You have to respect yourself in people's country. Everybody have to go someplace to live. That's why we are all immigrants from here, there, and everywhere. We all of us ain't gonna stay where we born. But respect where people live.
Your point well taken.
Respect where people live. It is an insult. If I want to get up from here and go to Jamaica, okay, Jamaica or wherever will invite me and open their arms to me or whatever. And I will open my mouth and them and pretend like I'm rubbing shoulders with them and I'm equal to them. You don't respect them. I leave from my country and went there. And who am I to go there to go insult them and say, oh, let them shove them country and let me just get them pension and go back home. That's disrespect. I am not saying that we can't live in peace. We have to live in peace. Yeah. But learn when you go someplace, you learn to respect people, respect their laws, and just respect each other. And that is my point, and I believe this young man and whoever missing my point. Don't come in my country, come and insult me.
Well, Carla, let's take this to another level. Have you made these concerns have you raised them with administration? Administration as different from the hospital. Have you raised these concerns?
No, I ain't saying nothing, but I mean it.
But you should. You should. If you have a valid concern, which I agree, you have a valid concern, raise it with the administration.
I want to raise it to my government.
Well,
our children need work.
Don't forget that
our children need training.
Yeah, let's do it.
Whoever it is want to go home, let them go home and give our people a chance.
Okay, but don't forget that the hospital administration is separate since they passed the legislation that makes it a separate entity. Okay, so maybe you might want to raise it with the hospital administration first. And let them come and speak your mind and clear their name, their good name.
Me ain't all about that. Cause while you talk, the next 4 years we gonna still be saying the same thing, and nothing ain't gonna happen. I just want when people come to my country, they respect me and my country, and they respect my laws. So just the same way, when I go to other people's country, it is my duty to respect them and them laws. I ain't gonna time for politicians now. All of them in there doing the same thing.
Carla, before you go, right? I just want to say that I hear what you're saying. I don't want to send all the nurses home because you and I probably going to need them, and we need help.
I don't want to send the nurses home. All I'm saying, respect me. When I lie down in the hospital bed, you don't be there throwing words at me. If you don't like it, I told them go home.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, you're absolutely right. I remember sitting in a line over there at MoneyGram, the one that got robbed. And I hear a fella having a conversation in the back. He was from St. Kitts. And all I hear him say is he can't wait till when his house finished because his bloody place is no good, no good. I hear what you're saying. There's a lot of...
Them here using us.
Yeah.
They're using us. And the back of it, them giving us all kind of big mountains and all kind of stupidness. I ain't care who in council. I don't care who in administration. I am telling all expatriates, if you don't like Tatola people, which we know you don't like us, you just here using us.
Yeah, but Carla. Yeah, but what I yes, Carla.
Stop insulting us because we cannot go in our country to insult you all.
Yes, Carla, but at the same time, you have to understand too, there's always going to be a few bad apples. And you can't paint the entire population from one country or another and just based on what one or two people have done. Yes, no, hold on a second. I mean, it's fair for you to feel...
Sentence here is you don't like what happened in another man's country, go home.
Yes,
nobody ain't sending you home. Nobody ain't disrespecting you. The point of the matter is, rather than standing in MoneyGram line and insulting Tatola people, keep your mouth shut and go home.
Yeah, but Carla, while he was being disrespectful, remember the line besides myself was probably one or two others from the BVI. There was also other people who were saying the opposite of what he was saying. So I can't, he was saying what he was saying for whatever reason, and I hear what you're saying, that addressed to him. But what about the other hardworking people who come here to make Tatola their life and have given their self to this country? You got to also give respect and
respect us and say. Nobody is saying.
Yeah, but they have. Yes, they have though, but you still have to give them recognition. You got to give them their jacket too. There's a lot of people that help build this country. They put down foundation. Their children have born and raised here, and their children are nationalists just like you to this country. They support this country. So we can't paint everybody. Carla, we can't paint everybody, put everybody in the same basket.
You like to call them island man, you hear? Listen, I married to an island man for nearly 20 years, you understand?
You married to a foreigner?
I ain't got nothing against island people. I married to...
But you're an island person too. You from an island?
Well, like I say, that's what we customers saying. So I ain't gonna change my twang. That's what we are customers saying. Come up with a better one, I'll use that one. But for now, I ain't have nothing against island people. I married to one. And he ain't gonna come here and disrespect me, and he ain't gonna say, you're different. I never heard him say something like that. He respect me, and he respect my people. And if he don't respect me and my people, he himself got to go. You know, and if I go where he's from, I can't go disrespect his people. Nobody is saying you can't come here.
Totally understand.
If there's any event that you don't like being here, if there's any event you do not like our procedures, go home. Thanks to all the people who have come and contributed and respected us. You are welcome with open arms. But if you don't want to be here, go home.
All right, Carla.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have to wrap up the show now.
I guess that's why it's called Speak Your Mind.
That's why it's called Speak Your Mind, yeah. We have to wrap up the show now, you know, Sam. We're being called to make a sort of appreciate exactly what happened in the show tonight and come to that point. We started out with our introductions and we went on to talk about the airport development tax. But nobody didn't follow me up on it. Maybe they don't believe me, or I don't know. But there's an airport development tax in place where you have to pay $10. And we'll take this last call. Good evening. You're speaking. Good evening. You're Speak Your Mind. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
We're doing fine. We're trying to wrap up the show to say, could you be real quick?
I know that Brother Late will answer. She was making some good points with what she was saying.
Okay.
But I hear a man calling about development. But I want to know who them developing. You know?
As my
because
good...
say this person got go ahead, this island. But to me, all them people doing is running behind all them dead presidents behind that dollar.
Yep.
You have a good night.
You sound like the last caller, though.
Thank you. No.
We stolen.
Thank you.
I like Gina.
Thank you.
She has some fire in she.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for your call, but
Right.
I wish you would call back so we could...
And next
discuss
time,
this
call
more.
earlier.
Yeah. God, that's a good topic to talk about, development, you know, and what development really means. And for whom. As one of my good brothers, Rasahuru, used to always remind us, development for whom? Who are we developing for? Anyway, we talked about the development, the airport development tax. We talked about the Elmo Stout High School, the 100-page sex questionnaire. Talk about traffic accidents. We talk about the census 2010. Try to get my word in there about peace, telling them to give peace a chance, stop the violence, see if we could get anything going with that. We were able to get a call. One of the persons that called in talked about a nursing training school, the possibility of that. I had cultural issues down here. We never got to that. We had a lot of other topics that came up though. Virgin Gorda. We got some calls about the road from the airport, which is in some bad condition. Of course, the work permit and the driver's license issue was hot again tonight, Sam. We were able to point some people in the right direction with what has developed with that. We talked about school children and other persons crossing the crosswalks and to be more mindful of the traffic. We talked about the flag by the House of Assembly that's up all night. The nurses, we had a long discussion about nurses. We talked about the housing for government ministers. We gave our condolences out to the family of Kawana. We got a good call from Anegada saying that Dr. Smith and the NDP should be recognized and commended for improving the service to the island and how it has made a tremendous difference. We said condolences to the Donovan family. We had some talk about the 9th District Representative, the Honorable O'Neill. We had some more talk about someone texting about toy guns and bringing them into the territory and how they should be illegal. There was one text that came in that says the accident since the 2nd of January and they haven't heard anything from the police on it. And I would like to advise that person that they should go and file for a police report for that accident. At least they would have some starting point. We talk about a medallion, the taxi medallion, and how it could benefit persons in the Virgin Islands. Some persons calling about Lambay and they said the government should investigate how workers are being treated at a Lambay hotel. Someone called in and said we should credit the leadership at One Mat for bringing down the prices and forcing other persons to bring down prices in our community. That is definitely something true. We should really be thankful for One Mat at this point and to see that someone has taken this hard time into consideration and use it as an avenue to make money. I think that is what the democratic process is all about, looking for new avenues to make money. Someone also talked about the trade license and how whether or not you should, if you're living here and you have the skills and relevant qualifications, how you should be preferred to someone without those qualifications. And I agree with that. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to some of the texts, and I think all in all, Sam, I must say we had a wonderful show. You have any last words you want to leave with the public?
Good night to the people. Stay tuned again next Saturday.
Okay.
Speak your mind. Call us. Let us know how you're thinking, how you're feeling.
Right.
If anything new has developed and you want it to address, this is a good forum. Obviously, from the caller that we've been receiving tonight, it's clear that we have a wide selection of people throughout the community, from Anegada down to Josephine Light,
that interact with us,
that want to be able to voice their concern. I'm glad people open up the phone lines early. We're going to try to do that again next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a safe week. Love somebody, share some respect, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and
Good
on
night.
that note, I say, God bless these Virgin Islands and the people that live in it, and we'll see you next week.